going on, YouTube? It's Altone. Welcome to another episode of Altone Fishing. So, as I've told you before, if you want to see my impression of different tackle and all of that as a Googan fisherman or a newbie fisherman, you are in the right place. So today, what I wanted to go over is some of my soft plastics and some of the soft plastics I used last year as I started learning how to fish. The ones that I caught the most fish on are the ones that I've actually caught fish on, as well as the ones that I have not caught fish on as of yet. So let's get into it right now. So, so check it out. I've got a bunch of soft plastics, and part of the reason why I have so many is because I watch so many YouTube videos. I watch YouTube videos, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos on fishing. Part of what started me with that was watching Wicked Tuna. Man, that's a good show. I absolutely enjoyed it. But anyway, so I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I get a lot of tips and tricks from the Googan squad, you know, AP Bassin, John B, Andrew Flair, Lunkers TV, Rob and Lunkers TV, One Rod, One Reel, Mike, and also Fluke Master and Lake Fork Guy. So I'm constantly, and I still do on a regular basis, watch their videos. I know Rob from Lunkers TV doesn't always give a bunch of, he doesn't always do fishing videos, but he does some everything, paintballing and shooting videos and all of that. But that's where I'm learning or getting most of my knowledge from, is all of these guys. And Fluke Master actually teaches an awful lot on his channel. All these guys teach in their own way, but Fluke Master really teaches. But at any rate, I wanted to share with you from listening to all of these different guys, and as well as doing some reading and research on my own, kind of, you know, as my thought process went over the 3 or 4 months of me fishing last year and me moving into this year fishing, some of the baits that I've actually purchased, and like I said, what I've caught fish on and what I haven't. So what this is my junk bag. I have a junk bag on purpose. As I'm working the bank, I don't have to carry my little tackle bag the whole way. I can just put a couple of these or put this in my pocket, or a couple of these in my pocket, and then just walk the bank. And if I lose a lure, if I lose one of my baits, I can always grab one out of my pocket, put it back on the hook, and keep fishing. Or if I catch a fish and I'm ready, I can, you know, have another lure ready, because most of my fishing is bank fishing, is going to be bank fishing, because I do not own a boat. So the very first one I'll show you is, of course, the Yum Dinger. Get these from Walmart. These particular ones are 4 inches. The first ones I was using was 5 inches. And the funny thing with these is I've noticed a couple of times I had the fish actually take the tail off, because you know the tail hangs off. If you use a 3/0, 4/0 hook, usually the tail hangs off. I've had fish take the tail off. Well, one of the fish I actually caught was, there was only enough of the worm left to cover the hook. That's all it did. It was like 2 inches of worm left on the hook. And I actually caught 2 fish that way. And one of the fish that I caught that way, just playing around, was a striped bass. And for our lake, it is a major deal to catch a striped bass, because no one that I've talked to who fish on a regular basis out there knows that there were striped bass in the lake. It's amazing to me. But at any rate, this particular lure on my lake is what I've caught the most bass on. Now, if you talk about stick baits, the Gary Yamamoto baits, these are pretty large. These are 7-inch. Now, but I usually get the 5-inch ones. I don't believe I've ever caught one on a 7-inch, but the 5-inch ones I actually catch fish on. And on occasion, the reason why I picked up larger baits, larger basically stick baits, is because in my mind I was thinking, well, larger bait, larger fish. Not always the case, because what I've noticed is some of those 5-inch yum dingers have caught 5-inch fish. So, and it amazes me that these little fish, or I've actually caught on a 5-inch yum dinger, I've caught a bluegill that was tiny, and it surprised me. They were so small, I was surprised they could even get the hook in their mouth. That's how small they were. So, I've got a bunch of different baits, creature baits. I actually picked up these power baits, Berkeley power baits, rib snake, and they are 5.5 inches, and you're supposed to use a 4-aught. I wanted to try those out because I've seen lunkers using something very similar, if not this one, something very similar to this. They had a sale at Walmart, I guess, because it's getting close to that season. I think they're getting rid of some of the old stuff, so they had a sale. So I started picking up some of those, and then of course the river bug, Strike King river bugs, creature bait. I picked up a couple of bags of those because I wanted to try those, because I did have someone else tell me that is an avid fisherman that crawl imitation lures catch a lot of fish on our lake. So and I of course purchased this little plano box that I keep in my little tackle bag there, keep these baits in. So for stick baits, I've got a bunch. So it's a ribbon tail. I've actually caught on this particular ribbon tail. I picked this ribbon tail up because I saw another guy out catch. He caught about 5 fish while I was standing there in about an hour and a half. And the baits he were using was ribbon tail worms that were about this color. So when he left, he had actually left a worm on the ground, and I went and picked it up because I wanted to see it. And he was using a worm, and I forget what it's called, but he had it rigged with a weight and was casting out, and I know exactly where he was casting at. So I went and picked up some of these, and I actually caught 3 or 4 fish on this particular worm. And what they tell me, and what I keep hearing, is that you should try different baits, because sometimes if the lake is pressured, you know, there's a lot of fishermen out there, especially if you're looking on catching larger bass. Bass are smart. They learn. And if they keep seeing the same bait, they're not going to strike it, even if they want to. You know, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. But if you want a better chance of catching them, you need to change it up a little bit. So these are a little bit thinner worms. These are Super Salt Plus Zoom worm, finesse worm, 20 in a pack. These things I've caught fish, not with this one, but I do have somewhere in here. Here they are. These are June bug. I've caught fish on these at nighttime. Awesome, awesome. And then of course I've got a bag of these, which are the green pumpkin. I've caught fish on those as well. So depending on how I'm feeling, I've tried these on a drop shot. Never caught anything on this particular one, which is a pumpkin. Never caught anything on this one, but I try to, you know, like I said, I try to change it up every time. Every time I go out, I try something different. The Gary Yamamoto, I've got those that looks very similar. They have the chartreuse tail on them. They look very similar, and these are 5 inches to the yum baits. These I have a tendency to have a little bit more luck with, and I believe it's because of the way they're made and how much salt they actually have in them. But these have a kind of rubbery smell to them, so I end up having to use a scent, like a garlic scent or garlic spray, or a scent on these yum baits in order to get them to work as well as I want them to. So let's see what else I got for stick baits. So stick baits. So check this out. This bad boy is freaking huge. He is a Mag O Monster Zoom bait, 12 inches. Super Salt Plus. They only come in a pack of 5. This bad boy right here, I said, you know what, let me try something, because what I do as well is often when I'm fishing, I pay attention to what other kind of baits are actually out there on the ground. So my first assumption is, if there's a bait out there that someone's been using and it's kind of tore up, obviously they've been using it and possibly catching fish with it. So I pay attention to what baits are actually left by other fishermen. And so I actually saw one. I saw about this much of one left on the rocks. So I went to Walmart, grabbed a bag of them just to try them out. Put I want to say I put a 4/0 and a 5/0 round bend. I use a round bend hook on them. The reason why I stick with round bends so much is because that was just something I think Andrew Flair mentioned at one point. And I put those and I was catching nothing, absolutely nothing. So my wife goes back out one day, and I had this on her rod, and boom, she catches I think she caught her PB, which is about 2 pounds 7 ounces, on that worm, and it blew my mind. I was like, cool, you know. I've tried the pink ones. I've got some pink stick baits in here somewhere, and to me, you know, I have had no luck, even though I actually watched another guy out fishing catch on these. He caught a fish right in front of my face with one of those in a place where I had the hardest problem trying to catch fish. I've only caught 2 fish from that particular area. It's a beach area out here at the lake where you can, there's like a park there and you can fish. And he actually caught a fish there while I was standing there talking to him. And I was like, so I went and grabbed some pink ones. I don't think from what I hear, the bass don't really care about the color of the bait. It's just a matter of whether they can see it or not. So I imagine they could see it that day, and the bass he caught was on it. And I want to say he was probably 12 to 14 inches. Watermelon seed, these are more creature baits. Another crawl, different type of crawl. I haven't caught anything on these yet. And so I've got a bunch of different crawl style soft plastic baits by different manufacturers. Another power bait, also a crawl imitation, 4 inches. Crazy Legs Sugar Crawl. I've got a bunch of those in different colors. I do a lot of black and blue at nighttime, so again, learning. Then I have some flukes. These are like a green or Houdini swim fluke, and I use those as trailers onto my chatterbait. I've got a couple of chatterbaits in different colors, so same thing. These are a little bit smaller, and those are white, or like a shad imitation. So I don't believe we have shad. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't believe we have them on our lake, but I do. But I use that, and my wife has actually caught one on a white shad imitation bag, swim bait. She caught a bass on that. I do have some smaller ones. These little itty bitty dudes that I use on like my. I've got a couple of different rigs, or a couple of different. I was trying to see if I got one that's actually pretty much open. So I tried using these little guys on a drop shot. I don't have one that's open. Looks like. Yeah, here's one. I tried using these dudes on like a drop shot, and I haven't had any luck with that either. But these little guys, man, they are slimy. So this little dude, I don't know how well you can see it. He's got that little ribbon tail on him. Little dude there. But I tried putting those on some of my other baits. so that I could see, you know, if that would help attract some fish. And unfortunately, have not caught anything on any of them as of yet. So that's pretty much what I have for soft plastic and what I'm using. If you have any thoughts of things that you think that I should try, or types of baits, or even manufacturers of baits that you think I should try, by all means, drop me a comment below in the comment section, and let me know what you think. What do you think about the baits that I have, and how well do you think they should work? Even how you know, I've done Carolina rigs. I've tried a couple of different, you know, riggings for these baits. So if there's a specific way that you'd rig your bait, by all means, you know, drop it in the comments below and let me know. Make sure you know, tell your friends about my channel. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. If you find that you need some time and you live close to a lake and you need to find that stress relief, by all means, I suggest that you go out, buy yourself a rod. You don't have to spend a lot of money on one. I'm saying even down to a $30 rod just to get out there. Buy yourself some lures and go out and fish. Whether you catch anything or not, it's always relaxing. So on that note, I will see you later. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I am out of here. Peace.